who's been here who's lived in Peachtree City 20 years or longer?
Wow.
Okay, awesome. All right. So these people will testify on my behalf on the statement I'm just going to give. When we say we want to get it back on track, where is the track? Okay. When I was mayor 20 years ago, and the end of the third year of my term, I was driving down, I was leaving City Hall, and I was just about to head up 54, and I got a phone call. And this was back when you could still use your cell phone when somebody called you in the car. So it was perfectly legal. And I said, hello. And this woman said, I'm so-and-so and so-and-so. I'm from the CNN Money Magazine Best Places to Live panel. I said, oh, hi. She goes, we're looking at Peachtree City. We'd love to have a conversation with you. And I said, I would love to have a conversation with you. And by this time I had pulled off. I was in the parking lot with my blinkers on, listening intently. And I'm thinking, I was going to tell her, why don't you call City Hall? They've got my schedule and we'll set something up. And she said, oh no, we're 5 minutes away. We're leaving the airport. We'll be there in 5 minutes. I pull a U-turn on Highway 54. I get back to City Hall. And Betsy Tyler, the late Betsy Tyler, she was our assistant city clerk at the time. And I go into City Hall and I yell, all right, everybody stop what you're doing. I said, I need the papers for this. I need the plans for this. I need the copy of the budget. All these things like this. And people were scrambling to get the documents, right? And I knew I was going to take them on the tour while they were putting documents together. And we go on the tour. And they see the most finely manicured highway and side streets you have ever seen in the state of Georgia. Beautiful. Flowers, trees, grass is immaculate. Never anything on the curb, always trimmed perfect. That was the way it used to be all the time. Then we went into the industrial area. We've got all kinds of international business. Here's the Japanese, here's the Swiss, here's the Germans, here's another Japanese, here's the Italian firm. Here's a group from the Netherlands that have come in and set up their operation for the whole United States right here in Peachtree City. We've got a new Chinese firm that just moved in that does heavy equipment. First Chinese firm to settle in the state of Georgia. We've got them all. I'm going through the list. That's the way it used to be. That's the way it used to be. We were number one. We drew everybody. Georgia Power and their economic development team and the state of Georgia economic development team. Does Peachtree City have a site where we can drop these people? That was the first thing. We had companies, literally, that had already made development agreements in other states, and their wives, and it's amazing how many of the wives determine where a corporation is going to settle. I'm not joking. I've heard this from multiple guys in charge of the headquarters here. And their wives said, I'm not living in Mobile, Alabama. What else do you have? And they said, well, it costs more to live in Peachtree City, but let's take the girls to Peachtree City. And they took them over there, fell in love with the place, best schools in the state. And they destroyed their Alabama incentive program and moved to Peachtree City, moved that headquarters to Peachtree City. That is what we used to have. But the kicker was, and this is what floored, because this group, CNN Money Magazine, they're all over the United States, right? Coast to coast. They're looking at the cream of the crop all over the country. The kicker was, I get them back to City Hall after the tour, and we sit down at the conference table, and I look through the documents that they gave me, and I find the budget, and I said, do you think we're doing a good job keeping things up? And do you think we're doing a good job attracting industry? And do you think that this is an excellent place? Oh, and of course, I forgot to tell you, they died when they saw 600 golf carts parked in front of McIntosh High School, too. That was a story in and of itself. But I said, do you think we're doing a good job attracting highest income families in the state of Georgia? Highest median home price in the state of Georgia at the time? Highest healthy rating, best place to raise a family, best place for seniors to retire. All of those accolades were there at that time, right? And I said, do you think we're doing a good job with that? Whoa, are you doing a good job with that? And then I take that budget and I said, and that's what we do it for. and they almost passed out. We did all of that. Our budget now is approaching $59 million. We did it for $31 million. And I can tell you, a lot of the things we did then were a heck of a lot better than what we do now. And they were floored at the bang that our taxpayers got for the dollar. They were floored. They had not seen anything else like that, and we were ranked the 8th best place to live in the United States of America. They used 200 different matrices to make that decision on all facets of the city and the population. We're not on the list anymore. Nowhere on the list. A couple hundred down, not on the list. Let's get ourselves back on track. And we've got to get people who know what they're doing. We've got to have people who are passionate about what they're doing and get the citizens back involved.